All right, got a ton of stuff in the mail over the last couple days, hopefully to get the boat fully situated here. So took the boat out on the last ride, on the last video, and battery died. So thought the battery that I had in there was newer, but it was from, I think it was May of 2021. It's one of those like Walmart Everstart batteries, so not the greatest brand. And I don't even remember where that battery came from, because the boat's been sitting since 2018. I bought it in 2023, and they never started it between then. So I guess that battery was in there, and maybe they tried to start it in 2021, and who knows. But I threw it on the charger, got it all trickle charged up, and I brought it to AutoZone, had them tested. They said the battery was good, but I think it was because it came right off the trickle charger. So 110 bucks, just bought another battery. This is a name brand diehard battery, so this one should be a little bit better. So we'll end up throwing that in there. I also noticed previously when I would try to start it, it cranked over super slow in the beginning, and then it would start to pick back up again. I don't know if that's just the cranking amps of the battery or what exactly was causing that. Maybe it's too thin of a gauge of wire, but oh well. Brand new battery, we'll throw that one in. Now we'll have two brand new ones. Worst case, we have a spare now, because I really don't think that other one's fully dead yet, but at least we'll have a new one in there. We'll be good to go. Brand new alternator. This is like 100 bucks on Amazon. It's the marine grade one, but we checked the other one. It was pushing like 13.5, 13.6 volts back into the battery when we had, I don't know, like 2 or 3 grand RPM. So I thought that one was good, but maybe it wasn't. So we'll throw a new alternator on there. 100 bucks isn't too bad of a deal to be sure. Worst case, we'll keep that other one just as a spare. Maybe we can get it tested, make sure it's actually dead, but we got a brand new one now. We were using my buddy's bumpers, and his were black, so as we rubbed on the side of it, it made a bunch of black scuff marks. So I ended up getting some white ones, as well as some green rope. Everybody keeps saying the boat is not green. It's not blue either. It's like a teal or a turquoise. This is the closest color I could find. It's not 100%, and it looks so off on camera, but oh well, it is what it is. So we got 3 of those. I did get another 15-foot dock line. I ordered 2 more of these, so I'll have 3 dock lines and 3 fenders for it, so that way that's all good to go. I ended up getting some grip tape for the trailer. So down along the side here, I'm assuming that's what used to be on here, and obviously it's not there anymore. So we're gonna line the steps on the side, part of the fender, and then this little corner part up top here with some grip tape. Pretty often we'll stand on this to get into the boat to grab some stuff, so be better to have that on there so it doesn't get slippery. So we'll end up throwing some of that on there. Personal preference, I don't like driving the boat sitting down. I'd rather stand up and steer it, and when you stand up, it's extremely difficult to turn that wheel. So we'll end up throwing that knob on there. That way it's a little bit easier to turn the wheel while you're standing up. I got two of the charging ports, which I talked about a little bit in a couple videos back. We're gonna end up putting them over here and wiring them to the battery. So this is the charger I use, and it has, let's see if I can get to it. It has this little quick connect on it, where I just use regular like alligator clamps or whatever they're called to clip onto it. So we're gonna end up putting those in so we can just plug it in. We'll label it battery 1, battery 2. So I can just plug this into it. With the new alternator, we shouldn't have to charge the starting battery very often, but again, we do have that deep cycle battery. So the last time when we took the boat out and it died, I actually ran the boat on the backup battery while we were getting towed back, so we could at least listen to some music on our 2-hour ride upstream. So that way it'll make it a little bit easier to charge it once we get back. What else? So this is that strap that I was talking about that we're gonna end up screwing down here to help hold this ladder down. So while you're out driving, this is bouncing around and smacking onto the back of the boat. So this strap will end up screwing down here. It'll loop under the ladder, come back over itself, and then snap in to hold it in place. Also got 2 of these bungees that we're gonna end up putting around here just so the ladder doesn't open and close. So we'll throw that in there. Got another cup holder. I had all the cup holders when the boat was in Tennessee, but I think during the drive back home from Tennessee to New Jersey, I think one of these blew out because we lost one. So got another one to fix that. New flotation thing for the key. There's a crappy one on there that's all falling apart. And a whistle. I feel like we spend more time broken down on the water than we do enjoying it. So the boat has a horn and I have arms, so I can start waving at people, but I think a whistle will just be good to have on there. That way I can, you know, try and get a hold of somebody if we break down again. Hopefully that's not the case, but better have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So we got that, and then a spare tire holder for the trailer. We got dual axles on here. Tires are newer. They're not brand new, but they got plenty of tread on them, no dry rot or anything. I have a full spare for it. I just don't have any way to store it on the trailer. So I got that piece, and we're gonna end up clamping that onto the front rail of the trailer up here somewhere. Obviously out of the way of the boat. Probably, maybe we'll clip it on the other side, on the opposite side of the jack, just so it's out of the way, and at least we have a spare tire if we need it. And then the other thing we purchased, Type 4 throwable. You're required to have one of these on the boat. I didn't know that, so now we do. This is not my first time having a boat this size, but I forget what the measurement is, but anything over, I believe 16 feet requires a life jacket per person plus a Type 4 throwable. I've always had jet skis, so I've never known that, but now we got one, so we'll get that thrown on there too. But yeah, so we got a ton of little parts. Some of this stuff isn't really even install, right? Like these are already done. They're just gonna be put in the boat. This is 2 bolts. This is just gonna screw in. Might wait a little bit for this because I gotta cut through the wood, cut through the vinyl and all that to set that up. But we'll get the majority of this stuff on. We'll get this on, alternator in, battery in. We'll get the grip tape on, steering wheel knob on, and then we should be good to go. Once we get all that on there, we'll end up taking this boat back out for a second test ride, and hopefully we can spend a little bit more time out on the water, actually driving it and enjoying it, and not just sitting there waiting to get towed back. So let's jump in and start throwing all these parts on. Easy enough. Don't have the spare tire on me, so we're just gonna put those studs on there for now. But yeah, quick and easy. looks much better having that grip tape on there. Ended up using the leftover scraps we had from some of the weird cuts to fill in up here, just some spots I normally step on. So cool, let's keep going. We got the new alternator in, new battery in. Just try to start it and looks like this new battery is already dead. It's already down to 40%, but it's still cranking over really slow. It's so strange. It's like it just doesn't have enough power to crank it over, but it's a brand new starter, so I know the connections there are good. It's now a brand new battery. Brand new alternator, so that should charge it. There's only a couple other things, so we'll charge this first. We'll let this get up to 100%. We'll see if that does anything. If that doesn't fix it, I think the next thing I'm going to look at is maybe getting a different battery switch. So that one came with the boat. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that needs to be replaced. Maybe it's got corrosion in there, so there's resistance, so it's not letting the power go through. It could be the gauge of the wire, but I don't think that's it. Like this is all the factory wires. The wires are actually really hot. Well, the one that goes to the starter is very hot. So maybe I gotta get a thicker gauge wire. It's weird though, because that's the one that came in on it, but maybe we can get a new one of that. But let's let this charge up a little bit. It's still saying 40%, so we'll let this charge up for a little bit and then we'll give it another try. Alright, so new battery is in, alternator's good. Trickle charger's been on overnight. Says it's off, so it should be fully charged up. Let's turn the key real quick and see how it works. So still the same thing. I don't understand why it's not cranking over very quick. Alright, well, it doesn't make me feel very confident in all the money we just put into this if we're still in the same issue. So I'm going to take the power cable off of the starter. I'm going to cut the wire back, see if it's corroded at all. And then we'll use this crimping tool and we'll crimp on a new end for it, see if maybe there's some corrosion which is causing some resistance down there. Well, that might have something to do with it. Let's it's kind of hard to show you one-handed, but we're gonna cut this back and put a new end on there. All right, so maybe not even so much the wire, but just the connector. I don't know how I didn't catch this when I put the starter in last summer, but it's probably the connector. But we got a new one all wired up, heat shrinked and everything. So let's put that one back on. I ended up just cutting back, I don't know, about 3 inches or so. The wire looks pretty clean on the inside, so we'll bolt that back on and give it a shot. I think while we're down here and we got another terminal, the crimper and all that out, I think I'm going to double check the back end of the other end of that wire that goes to this splitter. So let me grab a screwdriver, we'll pop this off real quick and we'll double check that one too. Alright, well, there's the two ends. The two red ones are the lead going from the battery switch to the starter. This is the ground wire that goes from the batteries to the motor. So I think that may have had something to do with it. I don't know where the other end of this ground goes that attaches to the motor. Probably look it up online, but it doesn't look like it's anywhere over here. So I might look up where that's at, and if I can see it, take a peek down there and see if that one should be replaced. I do have one more terminal, or one more connector, so should probably get that one too. So let me check out and see if I can find where that one's at. Alright, so negative wire, I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a, where is it? Right here, there's a big post off the back of the motor. That's where a lot of your grounds go to, so that looks perfectly fine. So we're going to stick with that for now. Switch this back on to battery 1. Everything's already hooked back up. Let's give it another try, see if that helped fix anything. Wow. Okay. I think we found out what the problem was. That fired up way quicker. Yeah. Damn, okay. Well, it was just a bad connection. Now I'm curious if the alternator or the battery even needed to be replaced. Well, that's just how it goes sometimes. I guess I probably should have checked that sooner rather than later, but oh well. Ended up costing us a couple extra $100, but on the plus side, it gave me another excuse to go back to Harbor Freight and get another tool. So at least now we got this for the future. But all right, cool. Well, that makes me feel a lot more confident about it, and I'm really questioning whether or not the battery actually died, or if it was just the terminals were so bad that it just didn't have the ground to kick it over after it shut off. So who knows? We got a new battery, new alternator, new connectors now, so should be good. Let's get this thing back on the water and take it for a second ride. Alright, so boat came to a complete stop all of a sudden. Had no idea what happened. It seemed like it went into neutral. So first thing we did, we popped open the cover. We wanted to get down and look at the shift linkage on top of the engine to see if maybe the cable wasn't getting enough throw to keep it in drive. But after getting down there and taking a look, we didn't see any issues with it. So then we started looking at the lever on the back of the Outdrive. Once we got down there, I was trying to see if we can reach behind the back to actually manually put the Outdrive into gear to see if maybe there was something wrong with the sleeve that slides over top of it down there, but still couldn't find any issues with that. After we ended up checking all that, we started to look back behind the drivetrain of the engine to see if we can see the drive shaft actually spinning. So I'll throw a quick little clip in here of us looking back there. We were able to reach everything, but we just couldn't figure out why it wasn't going into gear at all. So in this next video here, you can see we got the camera back there, and we were able to actually see the drive shaft spinning, so we knew that there wasn't any issues there. So it had to have been something internally within the Outdrive. At that point, there's not really a whole lot we could have done out on the water. So at that point, we pretty much gave up and then just tried to figure out a plan B on how to get us back to the dock. We only made it, I don't know, maybe about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile out onto the Delaware River before it broke. And then because of the current and the wind, we ended up drifting about another half mile upstream. But we all ended up getting in the water, grabbed some rope, and we actually pulled the boat a good bit back to the Rancocas Creek so that way we can get it back to the dock back there where we ended up dropping in and at. Luckily, one of my friends was able to come tow us back again. Same guy that actually helped us the last time, so pretty happy that he was able to come get us. We did a pretty decent job pulling up the river there. I was actually very surprised with how strong the current was coming in, as well as the amount of wind that was blowing north from where we were at. Definitely thought it was going to be a lot harder than it was, but we made it all the way back to the river. He ended up towing us back in, and then we were able to get it back home and out of the water. Now that we'll have it out of the water, we'll be able to take a better look at it and hopefully figure out what exactly broke. A half a mile?
I was actually pretty confident in you fixing it.
So was I, until I fixed it and didn't do anything. Jeez. Alright, so it's been a couple weeks. We got the boat back at the house. So let's talk about what ended up happening. So we were driving, and then all of a sudden the boat just stopped moving. So it seemed like it kicked into neutral. We didn't hear any grinding or any noises or anything, so I wasn't entirely sure what happened. I thought, let me see if I can show you here. Back here is where the actual shift linkage is for the Outdrive unit. So you shift the shift cable, and it comes through here, and it twists the pole around, and ends up changing the gear selector, which is down here. Slides it like forward for drive and then pushes it backwards for reverse. I thought that there was something wrong with the actual shift linkage and that it just kind of kicked back into neutral, because I knew I was having issues with the adjustment on the lower shift cable from when we ended up rebuilding this couple months back. But turns out it wasn't that. We tried to manually twist that and try to get it into gear, but we couldn't get it to do anything. So brought the boat back. First thing I wanted to look at, I popped this cap off of the top up here. That's going to show you where the drive shaft comes out and then hits this vertical shaft, which comes all the way down through it. When we opened that up, this is what we saw. So from the looks of it, you can tell right off the bat that there was absolutely no gear oil in there. I don't know where it went. So we did change the gear oil out on this back over last summer, and then this was stored over top of on concrete, so like there was no visible drips or anything. The only thing I think could have happened is maybe it has a bad upper seal, and maybe the gear oil leaked into the shift bellows, or maybe there's something wrong with the oil passage that goes from the lower unit up to the upper unit, and maybe it just wasn't getting oil. But it seems like that top bearing that sits right on the top here on this cap ended up giving way, and then that's what threw all the bearings and the race and all that stuff down into the gears and just completely destroyed the gears. So we definitely need to get all that fixed now. I'm not really too sure what our best option is going to be. We're either going to have to get this one completely rebuilt, which I think after parts and labor it might even be cheaper to just go with either a new or a used one. With the amount of metal shavings that's in here, it's throughout this whole unit now, so the whole thing has to get torn apart. all the bearings have to be replaced, seals have to be replaced as well. We got to figure out why it didn't have any gear oil to begin with. So might be cheaper to try and find like a used one on Marketplace, or see if a marina has one laying around that we can hopefully get and replace it with. And then maybe later on we'll tear this whole Outdrive apart, rip all the gears and everything out of it, make sure that the housing's good, and then maybe I can hopefully sell the housing later down the line, try to get some of that money back. While I'm down here though, I don't know if you can see it, but the shift bellow broke again. The whole end of it's ripped off. So that's probably why we're leaking water still. Again, not leaking much, but it looks like I just have it clamped way too high up. As you can see, the other end of it's all the way up here. It's a pretty far stretch, so gives us a chance to fix that again. But yeah, so real unfortunate, super expensive repair, because now I'm gonna have to fix the whole end of it, whole back end of it. But I guess could have been worse. The motor ran great though, battery didn't die, started right back up after we shut it down, so there's no issues there. But it's going to be expensive to get that fixed. But I've already started looking around. I found a marina nearby that has one. They're trying to ask like $1,200 for it, and I also found one on Marketplace for like $600. So going to compare the two of those, figure out which one will be the best option, and then go from there. So next video hopefully should be us replacing that, and then maybe taking it out again. All right, but I think for now that's going to be a wrap. The boat's going to stay here covered up for a little bit longer. Should be closing on a house here in the next week or two, so we're going to shift our focus to that. But we should be able to get another video out on this pretty soon, so stay tuned. I hope you guys are enjoying. Definitely like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.